The Bud Light controversy is ongoing, and there seems to be no end. By this point, most people are likely aware of the current situation involving the famous beer. Anheuser-Busch, the makers of Bud Light, decided to do an ad campaign that many did not agree with. Since then, the company has been spiraling downwards, and things are not improving. Many of the fan bases feel alienated by them, and mitigating this feeling will be difficult. Often, the attention span of people could be longer. Most will get mad at a current situation and move on. However, unfortunately for this beer maker, people's anger is going nowhere, and the irritation is only worsening by the day as Bud Light spirals. It should be noted that the true impact of this boycott is hard to measure. Plenty of people are posting videos of fully stocked shelves, but that is not an accurate depiction across the board. Although the actual impact cannot be measured yet, the current downward trend for Bud Light is not looking great. Anheuser-Busch is likely regretting all their recent decisions. Companies like this think getting involved in social issues is a good idea. Unfortunately, the old saying that all publicity is good is false. Pandering does work, but only for a select few brands. For the overwhelming majority of brands, though, it is best to avoid any unwanted attention. Poor decisions like this happen when you need to be in touch with your core audience. Corporations get greedy and are often unhappy with the billions they already make. They then start thinking of ways to attract more people. However, attracting new people requires you to be careful not to alienate your existing base. Actions speak louder than words, and Bud Light is learning this hard. Whether you believe in boycotts or not is irrelevant because the slump in revenue is a concern for the company. As stated previously, we will not know the true extent of this boycott for some time. However, we do have access to some information regarding revenue. Bud Light is at massive risk of losing its number one spot. They have enjoyed their position at the top of the mountain for the longest time. Unfortunately for Anheuser-Busch, things can change in a heartbeat. Just in the latest week alone, sales for the beer company have dropped by a staggering 25.7%. When one company falls, however, another is always ready to take your spot. This is the reason why you should always take your base seriously. People will move on to something different when your product is highly replaceable. Right now, something different is Modelo. As things currently stand, Modelo is outselling Bud Light weekly. If this trend continues, they will overtake Anheuser-Busch soon. It is not only this specific beer company that is struggling, though. Sales across the board are down. Most beer drinkers are moving away from companies that try to make social or political statements. People are uninterested in anything that carries an agenda. There are, of course, though, who do not mind. I fall firmly in this camp. With the expectation of something truly terrible, I do not care what their advertising says. If I enjoy the product, I will consume it. With that, even people like myself have limits and lines you should not cross. If you cross that line, we will stop supporting you. For many, Bud Light crossed that line, and now they are paying the ultimate price. Over Memorial Weekend, many people treated themselves to their favorite beer. However, as people were sharing videos online, one thing became clear. People were passing by the Bud Light stand straight to different beers. Everywhere you go, this beer is just sitting on the shelf. Some providers are desperately trying to move their products but need help. Bars across the board report that their beer sales are down, and some bars refuse to sell Anheuser-Busch. Over the last weekend, we also saw massive price drops. Some shops sold Bud Light for as little as 14 cents per bottle. Certain retailers were selling 24-pack beers for $3.49. It is unreal to think that the price can go this low. The company is trying to rebuild its poor reputation, but it is not working. Since the controversy, they have pushed out a multitude of different ads. They also made several statements trying to explain away the disagreement. Unfortunately for them, all of these attempts are ignored. People do not want to hear any excuses. Instead, they want action against those responsible for the controversial ad campaign. The demands of the people are simple. Firstly, they demand a proper apology, stating what they did wrong. Secondly, they want the campaign manager fired. Anheuser-Busch will not comply with any of these requests. If they wanted to backtrack, they would have done so already. Right now, their strategy is clear. They'll ride out the controversy and hope people forget about everything. There are plenty of companies making similar ads to what Bud Light did. They likely see all this happening and hope people will move on to something different. Every day another company decides it is a brilliant idea to get caught up in controversy. It is always the exact blueprint that they follow. They make a controversial statement and attack their existing base. When that existing base gets offended, the company calls them horrible names. Many times, they will lose money due to the controversy. When that happens, they will very quickly backtrack, proving that they never cared about any issues to begin with. Once a company has backtracked, the other side will get mad at them. It is a strange strategy, and I need help understanding its mindset. I can only conclude that these companies are all run by out-of-touch people who need help understanding social media. They all hire the same marketing people who all follow the same strategy. In many cases, these marketing people are incredibly liberal. They are not too interested in the products but rather the messages they can spread. As a fellow lefty, I know this is precisely what my side does. It is not just on my side that it is happening, we see it on the conservative side as well. However, they're far better at paying for this game. They understand what type of messages work for the people. They advertise with girls, guns, and cars. Something most people can relate to. However, they avoid most current social and political issues when selling you a product. Many conservative-owned businesses are entirely apolitical. This is something that the left should also learn. No one likes the preaching left. It would be great if, moving forward, we have more companies who are only interested in selling their products. It feels like adverts used to be funny and captivating, and there was a time when everyone could point out their favorite funny ad. Now, every ad is cut out of a CNN segment. Companies have always been preaching to people, but things have only worsened over the last few years.